Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the Lilly grant application and how congregational involvement is key to the application process. Why does it matter if we're awarded the Lilly grant? If we're awarded the Lilly grant out of the thousands of applicants, it would provide for a meaningful sabbatical for Pastor and his family. We would be able to have fun send-off and return celebrations. It'll provide stress-free time of rest and learning and family renewal. Church family, too. Congregational growth through prayer, our interim pastor, and any special speakers we might have are pretty much a given. A shared journey of spiritual renewal is what they will be providing us if we win this grant. Why are we doing a podcast video? The congregation podcast video portion of our Lilly grant application will allow the panel of grant judges to actually see some of our congregation and its ministry in action. The judges will see why our pastor and our church would benefit so greatly from being awarded this grant. If a picture says 1,000 words, imagine how much a video will say. Engaging congregation voices. It's going to be a simple podcast style conversation filmed here in the church with a world map backdrop, as you see here. Familiar and comfortable space to just share known questions that invite authenticity, and engaging congregation voices strengthens unity and connection and our application. Once we've done all of our recording and cut and pasted the video together into a 5-minute show for the judges to watch, we're really hoping that it captures our church community's story. This slide talks about that. Engaging parishioner interviews. Filming parishioners answering thoughtful questions creates authentic and compelling footage for our video application. Hopeful and prayerful approach. We remain hopeful and prayerful about receiving the grant, and yet trusting the outcome to God's plan. Benefit for church community. Winning the grant would significantly support our church community and be a blessing for our pastor and his family. Here we just see we're aiming for a smooth interview process. So we're going to have a guided entry, a peaceful and efficient exit. We're going to have all distractions reduced during the interview process, and it's just going to be a nice, relaxed environment for the interviews. This slide talks about how powerful testimony is. These stories inspire and uplift. They reflect our Christ-like leadership. They create belonging and connection, and they strengthen our shared faith journey. You might be asking, what are some of the opportunities for congregational input and support while pastor is on his sabbatical? And here they give some ideas. Prayer support, which is organized prayer circles and weekly intercessions to undergird the sabbatical spirituality. Renewal planning input. Share feedback via surveys and forums. Shape goals and activities collaboratively. And then there's active roles during sabbatical. Serve in worship, care, and communications to foster resilience and shared ownership. This slide lists some of our congregational strengths: our warm, welcoming community. We are supportive, compassionate family. We are inspired by our strong leadership. We are impacting not only our church, but our community. And we are ready for renewal and growth. Celebrating our pastor's impact. Pastor invests in our spiritual growth. He leads meaningful community outreach. He builds relationship and unity. And sabbaticals support long-term leadership. Here we have some of the Lilly grant requirements. Congregational support is required. And that makes sense because there is shared involvement for the congregation in the sabbatical. It is a renewal for pastor and the church. And congregational engagement strengthens our Lilly grant application. There are many ways that the congregation is going to be positively impacted if we are awarded the Lilly grant. There's leadership renewal. Pastors return with fresh energy and perspective, inspiring the congregation and strengthening overall leadership. There's community engagement. Active participation during sabbaticals leads to deeper connection both within the congregation and with the broader community. Congregational growth. Lay members become more involved, fostering spiritual and growth in numbers within the church. And then there's innovation, new ministry initiatives, and creative approaches emerge from sabbatical reflection and leadership development. Here we have some biblical foundations for rest and renewal. It's scriptural patterns that ground sabbatical rest and renewal. First, we have our Sabbath rhythm, then Jesus' retreats, and then the Jubilee restoration. In Exodus, it's established a sacred cadence of work and rest patterned after God's own rest, blessing the Sabbath as holy time. This weekly pause restores creation's order, recenters worship, and reminds God's people that productivity does not define identity. Embracing sabbatical practice extends this principle, making space for bodily renewal, unhurried prayer, and stewardship of one's calling over the long arc of ministry. In the Gospel of Mark, Jesus invites the disciples, "Come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while," modeling rhythms of withdraw and return. His retreats for prayer and solitude anchor active ministry in communion with the Father. Sabbaticals follow this Christ-shaped pattern, intentional stepping back to recover focus, recalibrate desire, and re-enter pastoral work with clarity and grace. And then we have Leviticus 25 that envisions sabbatical years and Jubilee as systemic renewal, rest for the land, release from debts, and restoration of community. This theology frames sabbaticals as more than personal respite. They are practices of justice, trust, and reorientation to God's provision. Such seasons strengthen emotional and spiritual well-being, safeguarding shepherds and congregations through sustainable, faithful stewardship.